your brain is just given a piece of information that changes your outlook on the future. You know, for the last 15 years, you feel like you've not had a proper fight to get into. They were like, mate, you got to stop. Just get off. This will get me again.
Do you get angry? Because this doesn't feel very fair.
You know, the things that you will miss, that, you know, yeah. I would love people to feel more positive, more hopeful, more energized. If there's anything I can bring to this MND space, it would be that.
Lewis, it feels a little bit of a silly question, but how are you?
Do you know what, I'm doing good. You just focus on the things that actually you still can do and not worry about things that are changing or anything like that. So I feel pretty lucky at the minute that everything's slow, so all good really.
When I spoke to people and said, oh, I'm coming down to see Lewis, they were like, oh, Lewis, go and give him a big hug for us. Oh, Lewis, we love you, you know, we love Lewis. And I guess that's what you get every time you probably leave your house, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know what, after literally the day I announced it, I was walking through town and just heard this car screech to a stop. So I jumped out, ran over and literally sprinted to me and went, I just need to give you a hug. Give me a big hug and then ran off. It was lovely actually, and it has been lovely since. And
so day to day, just getting up, getting out of bed. We have Ziggy, who you said is going to be terribly behaved, but
yeah,
so far, so good. And just getting out and just living a normal life.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you're given this piece of news and I think, you know, people might have that thought process that it changes everything, but it does change a lot, but also it changes nothing. You know, you're still exactly the same person you were the day before. You live in the same house, you do the same things. I'm still capable of doing all that. Your brain is just given a piece of information that changes your outlook on the future. And actually that allows you real clarity around how you approach day-to-day living and doing.
We're going to talk about a bit more of that in a moment, but sort of as we stand here in the sunshine, walking your dog, club where it means a lot to you, winning all your life has sort of been about coming first, hasn't it? What does it winning on a daily basis mean to you?
Oh, wow. When do I feel? That's an excellent question. When do I feel like I'm winning? When I feel at ease, at peace. I've recognized, you know, whereas as the athlete mindset is everything about pushing and driving and, you know, testing boundaries and limits and all that type of stuff, it's almost the exact opposite with MND. It is, how do you get the most out of yourself by, you know, doing all the opposite. It is reducing the stress in your life, finding calmness. You know, everyone talks about being present, don't they? And I suppose, you know, when you get an information like this, it allows you to really understand what that means and be really clear on what the actions that you will take to be present are each day. So winning is just about waking up with a smile, having a hug with the wife, the kids, and
don't forget the dog.
Sort of, yeah, well, the dog's normally on the bed anyway, so I mean, it's a given. Can't get away from it. Yeah, I don't know if I have a definitive answer to that, Gail.
Let's go sit down.
That's a long-winded answer to.
It's all right.
That was a good question.
We'll take it.
What does winning look like now?
Is there a time, Lewis, when you don't think about it?
Yeah. You know, normally totally distracted, you know, playing touch. You know, I don't feel any different,
right,
because I can do everything that I want to still, you know. So I don't dwell on the future. Not that those thoughts don't come into my mind, because they do. But I'm just really proactive at staying focused. Whenever I get emotional is when I think about the support that people are giving, like, you know, the love that I've felt, that we felt. That's when even now, you know, you just...
It's your trigger.
Yeah, it is. If I talk about myself, I can talk quite frankly, quite pragmatically about it all. But if I talk about, yeah, always hits me again. It's like, it's weird.
In the weeks afterwards, Do you just try and hide away? How did you begin to come to terms with it? Because you clearly hadn't processed it yourself.
No, yeah, we hadn't at all. I still don't know if I have. So having a support network of, close friends that were immediately, this will get me again, they were immediately ready to step up and support, it was just amazing. From, Leon sleeping on the driveway, I specifically told him not to come down to...
Slept on your driveway?
Yeah, so he came down the night I found out, prior to sort of telling the world. I was like, mate, don't come down. I just gonna have a sleep and we'll find the right time. He drove down, got down so late we'd already gone to bed. So he tried to stay in a travel inn or something, ended up not being able to get a room, so slept on the driveway in his car until 6 in the morning.
And then he knocked on the door.
Yeah, and then he was there in the morning. So that was, it was wonderful. But, so Leon and Geordie and just everyone's been great. But that small group of people that have been my absolute sort of rocks. When you're diagnosed, you're just diagnosed. And we all know what that looks like from an end result in terms of seeing Doddy and Rob and, Eust and all those guys. But because you're not given any information initially, and it feels unbelievably negative, and all the noise around it is negative, and all your thought process is negative. But actually, when you sit down with other specialists and other people in that space that have been operating in there for a long time, and they start giving you information, and you start realizing that, no one individual is obviously the same. No person's experience of it is the same. The time that progression takes is different for everyone. So the only certainty is that everything's uncertain. That's what I've learned. And I suppose maybe the same can be said for life in many respects.
The strength, you said, is still there. So it was originally in the shoulder, and it's become a little bit weaker since the initial diagnosis?
Yeah, so absolutely, yeah. So the back of the shoulder was where it started and where it continues. And I suppose, in terms of the uncertainty piece that I talked about earlier, is that one of the things that the specialist said is that, where it starts, it likely continues. So, so obviously has, I've lost more in the shoulder, but not significantly. Okay. And the only other thing that I've noticed is in the hand.
Yeah, show us your hand.
So you can't really tell, but you lose a little bit of muscle in between the sort of the bones of the hand.
Just on this side?
Yeah, just on this side.
And you said you might like to put your gloves on because it's a bit chilly.
Yes. If your hands get cold, normal tasks become impossible. So when that happens, I recognise very quickly, okay, this is happening.
Yeah.
And that's okay, and figuring out how you mentally deal with each little change, thing that you notice, that's the hardest bit. But a week or two ago, I had loss of strength in middle fingers, and that hit me really hard because it coincided with, a couple of difficult conversations. And so I had 2 days of, mentally feeling hit, but then you quickly come out of it. I can quickly recognise that I'm in that state. Also be aware that it's okay to be in it, and give myself permission to be in there and accept it. And if it's sadness or grief or whatever, be with it, and then know that there's a time to step out. And when I step out, actually everything feels okay again on the other side.
What's the thing that makes you saddest?
If I dwell, if you dwell on the future, and the assumption that you will experience certain things, we all think we'll reach a certain place or things we'll see and be involved in. So the things that you will miss, that yeah.
Do you get angry? Because this doesn't feel very fair.
Do I get angry about it? Let me dwell on that for a minute. I don't think I do. But whether it's anger or whether it's something else, it's
Frustration?
Yeah, maybe. There are certainly times where you're like, I can't swear. They're fleeting moments. again, because I suppose I know it doesn't benefit me. Like thinking of things like fair and unfair, it is not helpful to my mental state, to my ability to operate every day, to where I want to go, and the things I want to do with the charity and stuff. So
you're getting back on your bike now, aren't you?
yeah, attempting to. I've done a challenge every year since I retired, sometimes more than one. And I was like, look, I don't know how much time, you have left in this physical state. So we need to kind of get it in as quickly as possible. So there's a slightly selfish element to it. But having done the Ed ride and having been with Jono and all the guys again, it was wicked. But for me, it was about doing as much as I could. The lads it was a race, the lads were trying to do it at a pace, and it was a quick realisation, whereas in the past I could have done no training and blitzed it.
How tough was it?
Yeah, it was really hard. So for the first time ever, I had to get off. And that
what was that moment like? 'Cause
it was horrible actually, but the support from Cozza and Jono happened to be there at the time, and they were like, mate, you got to stop, just get off. No, you don't need to continue, just get off. And yeah, that was lovely.
Also that hard realisation that's probably going to happen again.
Yeah, I mean, and so it was just changing my, it was adapting my expectations, which I probably knew would happen anyway, so I was prepared for. But when you recognise it, or when it happens, it doesn't hit you easily, So, but Jono, it was lovely to have them guys there.
Oh, Ziggy.
Do you want to have a little wander?
Yeah, go on, you have a little wander. Reading your piece with Clive, the idea of banking your voice.
Yeah. The idea of doing it, I probably delayed for a while at the start, because I was like, no, I don't need to do that, I'm fine. But why wouldn't you make sure especially with the advancement of AI now, or all the stuff that's happening in this space, is that the more information you can have for the tools and the algorithms, then the better. So I've done numerous things. One of my mates, Dodge, has got a studio that we borrowed, and he's recording, videos, so you can create, virtual avatars and all the voice, and also content around, my behaviors, my thought processes, so that the AI eventually can have the ability to predict what you are thinking. The only thing I was scared of was there's someone that loves communicating with people, and feeling the warmth and embracing the sort of non-communicative skills. There'll be a time when you can't do either, potentially. So that was terrifying. So actually knowing that there is something, or there is better ways of making effective communication easy, and that's been really sort of warming. And the longer my symptoms are as they are, and they're slow, the more everything around me will advance. And just so if and when that time arrives, you will be in a better space.
Strong glove game, Lewis.
Yeah, I got these in Dallas. We went to the Super Bowl.
And just finding, I asked you earlier, what winning looks like for you.
I suppose it's you reframe what winning is. You've always had that. Anything you've done has been competitive about how do you overcome it, how do you beat it. So there's still a part of that for me with this, and maybe a lot of that comes back to the connection to the charity focus that we're having, and Doddy's. And I've felt from day one, since speaking to Kenny and a couple of the other lads, that they've almost gone, mate, here you go, you're in off the bench for this. We've done the hard work. Now you get the rest of it done. So there's that real piece of connectivity to My Name's Doddy Foundation, and the desire not to want to set up another charity. Is like, why should I put something else in the way of the great work that's being done already? And so I suppose getting in there and amplifying the message, the work that they're doing, wanting to have as big an impact as possible in this M&D space with these guys. And they talk about a world free from MND and, you know, a quicker route to effective treatments. You know, winning looks like just, I've got a wonderful purpose. And I described it the other day, just when I was at the dinner. It's like, for the last 15 years, you feel like you've not had a proper fight to get into. Like your teeth have been a little bit blunt, you're happily just getting on in Bradfield and Avon, but now all of a sudden you've got that, like, almost reinvigorated. It's like, yeah.
The old Lewis.
Yeah, well, we always have masks, don't we, that we use, and my sporting mask was one that allowed me to amplify uniquely in one specific area of applying my physical exertion, energy, and I could be the maddest version of myself in that.
And you often were.
Oh yeah, and I loved it. And now I can just get to be the most focused in this space, and it brings with it a new energy and a new purpose and a new strength, I suppose.
Well done.
Yeah.